good cheer are brought to you by the Xerox Corporation.
Being a lawyer is as bad as being a doctor.
Oh, why don't you wait and see the exhibition with Cooper and me?
No, thank you. I'll stop by as long as I'm here, just for a minute. Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
Hi, folks. This is Glendora. How are you today? The boss believes in reincarnation. Did you ever notice at 5 p.m. how everybody comes back to life? And did you know the first time it snowed in Atlanta, they thought it was an explosion of grits? Paul says, I always give my wife the last word. And Ed says, you're lucky. Mine never gets to hers. This 30 seconds of good cheer and goodwill is brought to you by Texaco Incorporated.
Boys and girls, here's Thomas Burke, and he's going to tell you about his career and try to encourage you to have a nice, successful career like his. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. Tom, will you tell the boys and girls what MACOM is? You're the President and Chief Executive Officer, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Well, MACOM is a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, you're number 459.
Right. And our sales are roughly $500 million.
Wow.
And we employ about 7,700 people worldwide.
Wow.
Most of our facilities are in the Northeast, but we have facilities in California and Arizona and England and Israel. So we have facilities all over the world.
Isn't that wonderful? Tom, what does MACOM make?
Well, we make products what are called microwave components and subsystems. These are products that are used in radar systems. They're used in aircraft for what are called electronic countermeasure systems. That is for protecting the aircraft against enemy attack.
Oh, this is for the military.
Mostly for the military. 80%
Yeah.
of our business is for the defense of the country.
Tom, as President and Chief Executive Officer, could you give the boys and girls a flavor of what that consists of?
As Chief Executive Officer?
Yeah, and President, what does your work consist of? See if they'd like to aim for that.
Well, I guess I'm the one that is responsible for running the company. Basically, I have responsibility for developing the strategy for how the company will grow and running the operations through an organization of people who report to me.
Yeah.
And, basically, my job is to assure that the company is growing and that it's making money so that it can continue to grow.
Oh, Tom, you were born in Massachusetts?
Yes, I was.
Uh-huh.
I was born in a town called Newton.
Newton, sure, right outside of Boston.
Right outside of Boston.
And did you go to school in Massachusetts?
Yes, I did. I went to grammar school and high school in Newton, and then I went to college in Newton. Also, it's a college by the name of Boston College.
Boston College, yeah, very good college.
Yeah, right. Where I received both a bachelor's and a master's degree.
Is that a Jesuit school?
That's a Jesuit school.
Yeah. Well, then you got a very good education.
Yes.
Tom, in the last 30 seconds that remain, would you tell the boys and girls how they could succeed at a career today?
Well, I think the most important thing is to get a good education and to apply yourself in no matter what you do, whether it be in sports or whether it be in education or whether it be in accounting or science or whatever. That they just learn to apply themselves.
Apply yourself. Very good. Boys and girls, this has been Tom Burke, who is President and Chief Executive Officer of MACOM, and a chat with Glendora. Tom, you were peached to help us out.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Incorporated. We're at the Holy Rosary Church in Ansonia, and this is Father Padelli. Hi, Father.
How you doing, Glendora?
Thanks so much for having all the folks come down and hear your folk singing group.
Hey, great. It's our pleasure.
How long's it been going, Father Padelli?
Oh, let's see. We've been singing about 4 years.
Oh,
Right.
without stop.
Right. Yeah, we sing at our folk mass every noon on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Right. So the public is always welcomed.
Oh, yes. And tell us more about the folk mass, won't you?
Well, you know, it's there's not much to say except we come together as a community to pray, you know, and like I say, it's primarily for Roman Catholics, but any Christian and non-Christian is always invited to attend.
And that's every Sunday at Holy Rosary Church in Ansonia.
Right, 12 noon.
Anybody can come, right?
Right.
I liked what you said before, be happy because God loves you.
Right.
Yeah, that's very
That's
good.
our philosophy.
Wake up, there for the boys and girls to go with their mother and father out on weekends in the summertime.
Oh, boy, isn't that nice? And, Paul, what do you enjoy most about your work?
I enjoy the interaction with people. That's what makes any kind of work exciting and interesting.
You enjoy making those nice boats, I bet.
Well, we enjoy making the boats, but any work relates to people, and if you enjoy your work, you enjoy people, then you enjoy living.
Yes, indeed. Paul, where were you born?
I was born in Ohio.
Uh-huh. And did you go to school in Ohio?
Yes, I went to elementary, junior high, and high school in western Ohio.
In western Ohio. What town was that?
In New Knoxville.
New Knoxville. And then where did you go to college?
I didn't go to college.
Really?
No.
And what were your jobs out of school?
I started out on a farm.
Did you?
And I grew potatoes.
Oh.
And then I got into sales and marketing. I sold steel buildings.
Uh-huh.
And in 1969, moved to Orlando and started Regal Boats.
You started it yourself?
Oh, yes.
I think that's terrific. What did you do? Have a new idea about fiberglass?
No, just felt that the industry was large enough that there's room for a little manufacturer to get a toehold, to get started.
Oh, bless your heart. Would you give the boys and girls some advice how they might start their own business?
Well, first off, you have to work for someone else and then save your money.
Work for somebody else and save your money.
And learn a skill, learn a trade, get some expertise.
Good trade.
But you have to, it's a lot easier to spend the money than it is to save it. So a fundamental is you got to save money because you got to have some money to start with.
Oh, that's very good. And how's a boy or girl go out and get a good job today coming out of school?
The first thing an employer looks for, presuming that the prospective employee has the skills, is that the person is reliable and he's honest. That he or she comes to work on time, that they do what they're supposed to do, maybe a little extra, and they see a person who's dedicated. Now, the person who watches the clock, that's what he can expect to get, no more.
Yeah.
He'll get a paycheck.
Yeah, yeah.
So most people don't want to put in the extra, but for those that do, it's just as possible now as it was 20 years ago or 50 years ago to start a business and be successful.
Hooray! Anything else you want to say to the children, Paul?
I'd say be good to their mommies and daddies.
Ah, that's nice. Mr. Paul Cook, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Regal Boats in Orlando, Florida. Thanks, Paul, for helping us out.
You're entirely welcome, and they can go see the Regal Boats at their nearby dealer, too.
Okay, I'd like to do that myself. Take care, Paul.
Thank you.
Chief Executive Officer of Regal Boats in Orlando, Florida. Thanks, Paul, for helping us out.
You're entirely welcome, and they can go see the Regal Boats at their nearby dealer, too.
Okay, I'd like to do that myself. Take care, Paul.
Thank you.
girls, meet Robert Holman, and he's the general manager of Federal Check Printers. Hi, Robert. How are you?
Just fine today. How are you?
Good, thanks. Robert, would you tell the boys and girls what Federal Check Printers is?
We print personal checks and sell direct to the consumer.
To the consumer, uh-huh.
It's a mail order business.
Oh, really? And it's a big one, boys and girls. It says here that the sales are $84 million. Is that right, Robert?
That's the parent company. We're a part of them.
Okay. Now, Robert, what's the most fun part of your work?
The most fun is coming up with the advertisements.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seeing how they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a lot of fun. And when they work, it's a thrill, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Where were you born, Robert?
I was born in Dover, New Jersey.
Uh-huh. And you went to school where?
I went to high school in New Jersey.
Uh-huh. And then you went where?
Oh, I went to the military, Marine Corps for 4 years.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you for doing that.
And then I got out and went to college at Wentworth Technical Institute in Massachusetts.
I see. What did you take as a major?
Technical management.
Is that a good major?
It's a cross between engineering and management.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, Robert, and then you started out in your father's company, was it?
No, my first job was many years ago working at a gas station.
Uh-huh.
Since then I've tried maybe 5 or 6 different jobs, from restaurants to starting my own business of cleaning offices.
Yes?
This job was offered to me to run this because I had already started my own business once.
Yes?
This was a new project.
Yeah. Robert, what advice would you give a youngster to start out on a career today?
The biggest thing I found, I had to go to night school to finish college.
Oh.
The first time I tried college, it wasn't for me.
Yes.
The biggest advice I can give is not to get pushed in any direction. Is to try everything.
Uh-huh.
And then find something you like. Because if you like it, you'll be good at it. If you don't like it, you'll never be good at it, no matter how hard you work at it.
Try everything and find something you like. And if you like it, you'll be good at it. Now, this is Robert Holman, General Manager of Federal Check Printers, on a chat with Glendora. Thank you, Robert, for helping the boys and girls.
Thank you.
Bye now. Is the present entry to the CEO Hall of Shame. To get into the Hall of Shame, number 1, you don't want to help the boys and girls, and you won't help the boys and girls choose a career. And number 2, you're very nasty about it. And enter the Hall of Shame today is Blaine Hess, the new Chief Executive Officer of the Thomas J. Lipton Company. You know, Lipton tea and Lipton soups and all that. Bye now. Lipton tea and Lipton soups and all that. Every day by Bohack and Village Supermarkets. Now, your nearby Bohack or Village Supermarkets can really be a big help to you planning meals. This week, now listen, folks, chicken, fresh, whole, under 3 pounds, just 43 cents a pound. And another real hot Bohack special. Freshly ground chopped chuck, only 79 cents a pound when you buy 3 pounds or more. Now, with either of these served Del Monte peas, 17-ounce can, 25 cents. And U.S. #1 all-purpose potato. The big 10-pound bag is only 79 cents. That's today and every day this week at Bohack or Village Supermarkets. It's the place to supermarket.
Available at all the Altman stores from $4 to $6.
Hi there, folks. How you doing today? Don't forget to vote for Jimmy Carter. No, Jimmy Ford.
Available at all the Altman stores.
Okay, Jim Chasky, turn up the audio. Here comes the commercial.
folks. How you doing today? Don't forget to vote for Jimmy Carter. No, Jimmy Ford, right? I'm going to vote for Chris Jones. Listen, this is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news, and every day, you know, Singer Sewing Machine, well, every week now and then, Singer Sewing Machine has a very good sale. Now listen, this is what they had on sale last week. They had their extra wide zigzag machine, and I thought to myself, that's what a car is when you drive it, right? Yeah. And then they had flip and sew. A machine. I bet you flip every time you sew. And one machine they have is a two-step buttonholer. And I've got a neighbor just like that. You probably have too. You get within 2 steps of her and she buttonholes you, right? And then they have a free arm machine, which is something we could have used up on Mars, right, to scoop up the soil. And then they have a free arm machine that's good for hard to get into places. And I thought, well, that means CBS, NBC, and ABC and all that. Well, anyway, the city's Economic Development Administration, folks, obtained a 99-year lease on the Bronx Terminal Market. Now, that's the kind of a lease you'd like to see your daughter get on her boyfriend, right? 2 women were talking about a third bleaching her hair, you know, and one of them says, well, I don't think it's so bad she bleaches her hair, but I don't think she should use Clorox. This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. Hi there, girls. How you doing today? This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. Listen, you see in the newspaper, learn to hustle right in your own home. I bet you do that every time you find out your husband's due home in 15 minutes. Do you play bridge? I keep running into people all the time who want a fourth for bridge, you know, and I keep thinking about them that instead of bridging the gap, they're trying to gap the bridge. Listen, how's your husband at getting things done and getting things you want at the store, right? Well, one lady sent her husband to the store, and one of the things she asked for was promised margarine. And so he brings it home, and the little daughter's going through the bag, and she says, Mommy, Daddy forgot the promise. And she says, it's not the first time. Listen, your husband wouldn't do that, would he? You and your husband have a real sound relationship, and do the people downstairs, the couple downstairs, they really have a sound relationship. They they scream at each other all the time. Now, the back to the school sales has started, and I don't think you're going to get the flu this year because I've heard that you know what to do. You're going to get a transfusion. You take out what's in here, and you put in Prestone, too. This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news, and it's Friday. Hi there, girls. How are you doing today? This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. Have you been able to go to any of the concerts at Central Park, New York Philharmonic? They're at Sheep Meadow. Sheep Meadow, didn't she marry Steve Allen? Are you wondering what instrument your youngster should play in school when he goes back to school this fall? How about the trombone? You know, most kids like to play the trombone. You know why that is? Because they like to let things slide. There was an ad in the paper for a 3-piece cast iron skillet set. A terrific price, you know. And some people just think that in order to enjoy the food, you have to cook it in a cast iron fry pan. I know one thing's for sure, girls. In order to enjoy my food, you have to have a cast iron stomach. Very often in the papers we read about a burglary, and you hear that some policeman said that the burglary was very professionally done. That means it was done by a former FBI man. Listen, somebody sent me a letter 2 weeks ago, folks, and I haven't got it yet, by U.S. mail. So do you agree with me that U.S. mail, the U.S. stands for uncommonly slow? Glendora, a cheerful look. Go there, you know, she was accosted and all that. So they asked other women who worked there if they had any trouble, and this one girl said, well, in addition to following the no eye contact rule as I walk down the street, I also make sure not to have a nice expression on my face. She's taking lessons from robots. You hear these ads on the TV about the money store, right? Well, there's no such thing these days. You can't store money. And Pan Am has a new flight for you to Tokyo, and it's really great. They have 3 international menus for you to choose from. But I'm not going. I've seen all 3 international menus, and they don't have peanut butter sandwiches. There's lots of ads in the newspapers these days for steel-belted radial tires. I think that's great. Do you have steel-belted radial tires? That's the kind of a girdle we got to get, girls. And I saw an ad also for the cars for lifetime shocks. And I began to think, gee, that's what I am to my parents, a lifetime shock.
7500 from the suburbs. Call collect.
Hey, girls, how are you doing today? This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. Listen, here's a poll. In a recent poll, Betty Ford is supported by 60 to 30% of people under 30. And she's supported by 62 to 33% of those with a college education, and we might add, who are supported by their parents. A Consumers Affairs Department investigation found out that 21 TV repair companies were charging people for unnecessary repairs. You see, that's my fault. If you wouldn't watch me on TV, you wouldn't have any trouble with your TV set. We're always hearing on TV about groups that form a task force, and then a little bit later, what do you hear? That such and such a group didn't have the force to perform the task. What do you think of these mercenary soldiers? One little boy asked his daddy, well, you know, what a mercenary soldier was, and his daddy says, that's somebody who fights for money. In New York, who doesn't? Glendora, a cheerful look at the news is brought to you every day. Now today, this is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. I'm having a little trouble lifting my arm today. You know, I'm like Viking 1. Did you read about the scientists? They gave Viking 1 an order, a command to remove the pin so that Viking's dirt scoop could operate. And the scientists gave the command in the afternoon, and then they said they expected Viking would respond to the command by the next afternoon. I'm thinking that's how long it takes your son to respond to one of your commands. Hey, folks, what department of the government gives the birth figures? Somebody told me it was the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, but I should think the department that would give the birth figures would be the Department of Labor. Have you ever made a peach pie? I tried to make one, you know, it was just terrible. And the second one I made came out a whole lot better because I decided to peel the peaches and take the pits out first. There's a woman in Maryland, this is great, who runs a summer camp for city dogs. Now look, for $50 a week, she puts the dogs through the usual summer camp activities, you know, swimming and hiking, and then they have end of the season photos, group photos. And I suppose that even, you know, if the dogs get home, she'll let them call up collect. Hi, girls. How are you doing today? This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. And listen, everybody's still enjoying the bicentennial. America is celebrating its independence from England. Pretty soon, folks, we can celebrate our independence from Saudi Arabia. Listen, food prices continue to climb, but can you tell me how much longer is it going to be and how much higher do the food prices have to get before people on TV stop throwing pies in other people's faces? United States Customs is out there reminding people before they buy products abroad, they should make sure that it's legal to bring them back to America, and that includes anybody you just might marry. Listen, the beaver, you know, is now the official animal of New York State. Governor, you know, Kerry signed it and the state legislature acted upon it. So let's hope that this is not a symbol for the state's finances because a beaver is somebody who clogs up something that was running smoothly. Governor Kerry shouldn't have any trouble figuring out the millions that we need for New York State, should he? After all, for a father of 12, that's a snap. People in New York City are very stylish now. If you watch closely, pretty soon you're going to see them out walking their dogs, and the dogs are going to be wearing platform shoes. This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news, and it's folks. How are you doing today? This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news, and the FBI is in the news today for its counterintelligence activities in the 1960s. Girls, I remember I lost my first job as a sales clerk in a department store for my lack of counterintelligence. Now, you know what would solve New York City's fiscal crisis. Can you fix it so that New York City will win the New Jersey lottery? So many of the airlines now are advertising their wide-body jet service. Go to the airlines, girls, and take a look at the passengers. They're wide-body, too. You know, NASA still hopes that the U.S. will orbit a space colony of 10,000 people in the next 50 years. So I think I'll send NASA the names of my neighbors. Vocalist Tom Jones is still going all over the country, you know, and he gives his concert, and then he kisses all the girls who come to his dressing room. So don't you think that he should be the Secretary of State because he's the original kiss singer? In the 40s, people used to talk about white-collar workers, right? And then in the 60s, they used to talk about blue-collar workers. And now what are they talking about? Ring-around-the-collar workers. Glendora, a cheerful look at the news is...
I love when I was a child.
Hi there, girls. How you doing today? Did you have a really good Labor Day? Listen, why is it, folks, this is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. Why is it that Americans are always celebrating Labor Day by spending the day loafing? And the kids, your kids all back to school pretty soon, aren't they? What are you going to do then? Just collapse, right? And I was looking at some bicentennial pictures, and they had the old one-room schoolhouses, you know, and they looked so nice. And one of them had a little white picket fence all the way around it, you know. And last year in New York City, do you remember, we had a picket fence around the school, but it was made of people. You know, Robert Christian was a chief negotiator last year at this time for the Board of Education. Do you remember? And don't you think that they should have had some people, some pupils, you know, on that decision because on the Board of Education, because I figure that they're as Board of Education as any of us, right? And things were really bleak, but in the whole thing, what was nice last year, that as bad as things got, at least Sesame Street didn't go on strike. And a lot of kids these days, you know, they don't care about school as much as they used to. You know, they like their teachers. Very, very, very few of them think that their teachers should be president of the AFL-CIO, right? Very few of them think that they're old meanies. Listen, this is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. That's at Bohack or Billy's Supermarket. It's the place to supermarket. girls, how you doing today? This is Glendora, cheerful look at the news. Well, the kids are all back to school, right? What a relief that is. I don't think the kids really mind school these days, do you? What they object to is the principle of the thing, right? Listen, parents and educators are very, very concerned, are you, that children today do not know enough geography. But I bet your kids know a lot of geography. They know the Pittsburgh Steelers, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, New York Jets. Were you able to get your son to get a haircut before he went back to school? I guess a lot of mothers have given up. A barber can't help their sons anymore. They got to send their kids to a dog grooming parlor. And dancing, you know, now that they're back to school, the music lessons will start, and then the dancing lessons will start. And you know, kids today, what they want to learn? They want to learn how to tap dance in their platform shoes. Last fall at this time when the kids were going back to school, do you remember that the big movie of the year was Jaws? Well, 1976 is a year of the Jaws, too. It's an election year. This is Glendora, cheerful look at the news, the supermarket. Girls, this is Glendora, cheerful look at the news. How are we doing today? Isn't it sad that we're called AIDS City? But don't be discouraged, folks. In 3 years, won't we be called Paid City? And you know how they're always having these weeks all the time, you know, National this week and National that week, National Education Week. That's the week that we're all supposed to be educated. And coming up soon is my week, folks, is National Clown Week. But it was so sad, I thought, you know, last year, right in the middle of National Clown Week, Good Humor was indicted. Isn't that sad? Listen, Cher started out one of her programs, you know, on CBS Sunday nights. She says, I'm Cher, I'm 28, I weigh 104 pounds sometimes, and then other times I weigh 108 pounds. Don't you think the 4-pound difference is in the makeup? Listen, Cher is married to George Allman, as you all know, but one thing is for sure, folks, isn't it? Cher is all woman. Well, the Blue Cross rates haven't increased lately, and we're glad of that, because every time those Blue Cross rates increase, people get bluer and crosser, don't they? Some people say that Jerry Ford isn't paying enough attention to unemployment problems, but I think he is. I think he thinks a lot about unemployment, particularly on January 21st this year. Glendora, a cheerful look at the news is brought to you every day.
In gradual clearing. The highs this afternoon in the low to mid-70s. Partly cloudy, windy, and cool tonight with the lows in the mid-50s. Then partly sunny, breezy, and cool tomorrow with a high near 70 degrees. Sunday, sunny and cool with the highs in the 70s. Right now, 74 degrees and pouring in Central Park. That's news now. We'll have full details tonight on the 10 o'clock news. Sound, pictures, audio, everything you want to have. Thanks for watching. Have a very good afternoon.
How you doing today? This is Glendora, a cheerful look at the news. I'm sorry that it's raining so hard outside and now you just got to look at another drip, right? Listen, there was a report on TV that this woman married 15 different aliens in order to make them United States citizens, and the interviewer was shocked, you know, that one woman would marry 15 different times, but for Elizabeth Taylor, that's routine. Listen, what do you think of this time of year with so many politicians, you know, so many candidates? Can you tell me why it is that a candidate is always the last person in the world to be candid? If the U.S. Navy would make a survey, they would find that sailors from New York City have the best sea legs because, you know, when the ship pitches and rolls and the seas swell, well, the New York City sailors keep their footing firmly on the deck because they grew up riding New York City buses. Dick Cavett had a show on giving up smoking, and he ended it by saying, girls, that smoking is still, you know, cigarettes are still a $10 billion a year business. So slow economy or not, Americans still have money to burn. Friday is today, and we're very glad of that. And I asked the secretary, how you doing? And she said, oh, it's Friday, and that's and a weekend coming. I said, what'd you say? She says, it's Friday and a weekend coming. And for all the world, the way she said it, it sounded like it's a Freudian weekend coming. Well, I imagine there are a few of those. Glendora, cheerful look there, girls. How you doing today? This is Glendora, cheerful look at the news, and we have a brand new Miss America. I don't understand it. I didn't make it again this year. Can you tell me why they're going to let it go as Miss America? How come they haven't got after him? It's supposed to be Ms. America. And our new Miss America, her figure measurements are 36, 24, 36. And nobody told us whether that was in the metric system or not. Last year, and our new Miss America wasn't wearing blue jeans or a wig. Did you notice that? The wigs are getting pretty realistic, I think, girls. Pretty soon they're going to have a wig so that when the woman wearing it gets frightened, the hair in the wig will stand on end. The new Miss America, no, Miss Godden was the Miss America last year, right? Elaine Godden. And she was the tallest Miss America yet. She was 5 feet, 10 1/4 inches. And that just goes to remind us less attractive ones that beauty goes a long way. Listen, on the news every day practically you hear that there's a coup. You know, in one part of the world. Some days you even hear about two of them. There's a coup in this part of the world and a coup in that part of the world, and that just goes to show us that the United States isn't quite as cuckoo as the rest of the world. And another thing we don't have in this country is terrorists, although sometimes I think we do have terrorists. And they're the people who pump your tank full of gas and they come to the window and tell you how much it's going to cost. Glendora, cheerful look at the news. It's be fun.
It sure is.
Gary, how did you get... Gary, how did you get into this interesting field of grocery merchandising?
I don't know. I keep asking myself that every day. But, looking for a job, just wandered off the street, and some poor store manager needed help.
I see.
Decided to hire me.
You started in a store?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
And this is for Finest, folks. Finest is owned and operated by First National Stores, which is in New England, right?
That's correct.
And then when you get over this far, they call them Finest, don't they?
Yes. That's the abbreviation for First National Stores.
Gary, there's quite a few people over here in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. 100 working in this building?
Approximately.
Yeah, right. Well, listen, we thank you a lot for your opinion that the consumer is getting more and more knowledgeable, and so that has to go all the way through. The advertising has to be sharper, and the...
all the way around. Yeah. It does, certainly.
Yeah, that's...
It's my privilege tonight to introduce Glendora Folsom, who is married and is a resident of Buffalo, New York. Glendora has worked in television since the 1950s. She has worked for NBC Studios in Hollywood, California, in script services, and is very familiar with Bob Hope and Red Skelton. Worked with Channel 4 in Boston, Massachusetts, and also associated with Channel 6 in Schenectady, New York. You probably remember the Glendora show on Channel 6. Now, Glendora works with Colonial Cablevision and can be seen on our Channel 12 Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. It's my pleasure to introduce Glendora Folsom.
Well, thank you, Phil. Thank you very much, Hudson Falls Kiwanis. Bill Goodrich, I was wondering if you'd come on up and sort of tell the folks about some of the functions, what Kiwanis is and what Kiwanis does and all that. Can you do that? Or is it too late in the evening for you to do
It's getting there.
Oh, I can hold it. I can hold it.
And we give these activities in our club top priority. Kiwanis is a definite force for good in our community, and I think that's why all of our membership belongs. So we have programmed 5 of the fellows here tonight. We're going to tell you a little bit more about each activity that Kiwanis is involved in, and hopefully your audience will get to know a little bit more about Kiwanis. We're very proud to have this opportunity.
I think you spoke very, very well, Bill Goodrich. I use your sneakers and your tires and all those things. Would you say that Dr. Lee Potvin, Michael? Mitchell, right. Mitchell is your real name, but you'd rather have people call you Lee. Okay. Mitchell, could you tell us about
Thank you, Lee.
some of your youth services and your youth community work? Everybody, this is a chat with Glendora, Colonial Cablevision, Channel 12. We're at the, where are we?
Washington County Cooperative Extension Service.
And at the Annex.
Right, at the Annex.
Right. And this is Nancy Winkler. Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Nancy, your job, you're the big chief.
No, I'm the second chief.
You're the second chief? What's the job of the second chief?
I'm the instructor in textiles and clothing for Washington County.
And today you've all been making pants?
Right.
Yes.
For men and women.
For men and women?
Right.
The same pair?
No. They have their choice.
I see now, like this woman over here, her name is right there. She was cutting out this pair.
Right.
That looks like a pair of pants for men?
No, she's making a pair of Bermuda shorts for herself.
Ah! And her name is what?
I'm sorry.
Mrs. Clark. Mrs. Christine Clark. Good, Christine.
And how often do you have your sewing class?
It varies. This one's a pants class, and this is for 4 weeks.
It's going to take 4 weeks to make pants?
Right.
Right. Then it'll take 4 weeks to decide who's going to wear them.
No.
It's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yes.
And over here, won't you tell us about your coming into the extension, what you learned to do when you
Well,
first came?
I first made a shirt for my husband. And,
Yes?
so I decided to come out and make pants for him, I hope.
Yeah, you went a long time there without pants, didn't you?
Yes. I hope a pair to fit him.
Now let's talk to some other sewer. Tell us how you got started, won't you please?
The food lesson.
The food lesson?
They had a food demonstration, yeah.
Oh, really? Tell me about that.
Well, it was very good. Mrs. Kirk had the demonstration.
Yes.
And then we all ate the food.
Mrs. Kirk is a good cook?
And it was very good.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, it was very
You
good.
didn't eat too much? You look
No,
kind of
I
nice?
I still could put some more on. Thank you.
And how long ago was that you ate?
About 4 months ago. Wasn't it about 4 months ago they had the lesson? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
So, see, we can be in Saratoga County is very good, too. But, I mean, this is much easier to get to.
Sure.
The distance is shorter.
Yeah, right. You put in a good word for them. Nancy's going to finish your pants for you.
All right, good.
Can you stand up, hon, so I can see you? Tell me how you got interested in extension. I wanted to know, could you tell me about the cost? The women might be wondering about the cost.
Well, there's only $1.
Really? Mm-hmm. And that's good for how long?
For the whole course.
Really?
For the course of the pants.
For the pants? Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty good. And you get your own material, and you pick out your own pattern.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Did you pick out an easy pattern?
No.
That's probably where the women need the help the
No.
most, is picking out an easy pattern.
No. I thought that it would be better for me to pick out one that's a little more difficult for me, because then I'd have the help.
Yeah, well, that's good thinking. For
And,
$1, that's pretty good thinking. Yeah, but who else would like to talk to us on behalf of the extension? Oh, that's very good. Through what area, Chester?
We operate in Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Georgia.
Wow, and how many do you have?
272.
Oh, boy, you're successful. It says here that your sales are $400 million a year.
Well, more like 500 now.
Oh, that's terrific. Now, Chester, what do you enjoy most about your work?
Well, working with the people that I have here that have become my friends over the years, my close friends.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it?
It sure is.
And you've made a success of it. That's a great satisfaction. Where were you born?
I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Uh-huh, and did you go to school in Tulsa? Uh-huh.
And went to the University of Oklahoma.
You did, and what did you take?
Well, took business.
Uh-huh.
Didn't know what else to do.
Would you recommend that for the children?
Yes, I would. I think that business education is probably undervalued.
Really? Really?
Yes.
Now, Chester, what was your history until the time you founded Quick Trip?
Well, I was after I graduated from college, I went in the Air Force and spent 4 years there, and came out and knew I wanted to be in business for myself, so we just started Quick Trip.
You did. You started one store.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. And then was it a long time before you had more stores?
Well, no, we did it fairly quickly. The first store was so bad, I thought I better do something else, and so we did another one, and it was bad. And you can only go so broke, so I kept building them until we got it right.
What advice, Chester, would you give a youngster to start out on his own business today?
Well, I think being in business for yourself is more exciting than most anything else you can do. It's more challenging, there's more pressure, but I just think it's more fun, and that's what I always wanted to do, and that's what I did. And I would advise them to do it when they're very young and they don't have a lot to lose and they still have a lot of energy.
Yeah, okay. Yes, it does sound like fun and excitement. Well, Chester, we want to thank you ever so much for helping the youth get started on the right foot here on a chat with her. You take care, Chet. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bergman is kind enough to show you about his career and see if he can help you out. Hi, Barry. How are you?
Hi, Glendora. How are you doing?
Oh, good, thanks. Boys and girls, Barry is the chairman and chief executive officer and president of the Record Bar. Could you tell us what the Record Bar is and does, Barry?
The Record Bar is a retail record chain. We sell music, sell CDs, cassettes.
Wow.
And, we rent some video and sell some video.
Well, that must be interesting, Barry.
Fascinating.
And you thought of this thing all by yourself. Where were you born?
I was born in Durham, North Carolina, where I basically still live. I live in Chapel Hill.
Uh-huh. And did you go to school in Durham?
Went to Duke.
Duke?
Yes.
Hooray! What did you take as an undergraduate?
I studied history.
History. Now, what do you recommend that as an undergraduate major?
Well, I thought it was a lot of fun. It didn't have anything particularly to do with what I was going to do later in life. I was just very interested in history.
I see.
I think that's a good thing for people to do when they're in school, to study something they like.
Hey, it's always great to find out where you came from, huh, Barry?
Sure, absolutely.
Now, what do you enjoy most about your work?
Well, I like the music most of all.
Yeah?
And that's why I do what I do, and that's why I've always done it. And I like dealing with the people, both the people who work for me and our customers. If you're going to be successful in retail, you've truly got to love your customer.
That's nice. I guess you like everybody, from what I can judge.
No, I don't like everybody. There are lots of people I don't like, but I like them.
Now, it's very successful, boys and girls. It says here the sales are 100 million, and I've read it's even more than that, Barry.
About 125 million.
Oh, bless your heart. Gee, you've done well. Now, tell the boys and girls what you did after you got out of Duke University.
Well, my parents had one record store, and my wife and I got out, and we started a second store. And we just we had the two stores for about 5 years, and then after that we just started to grow, and every year we doubled, and all of a sudden we had 167 of them, which is what we have now.
That's wonderful. His wife's name is Arlene.
Arlene.
Yeah. Now, Barry, what advice would you give a youngster to start his own business or her own business the way you folks did?
The first piece of advice I would give anybody is to do something you like.
Oh.
Don't ever work any place or for anybody that you don't like, because you can't do your best work. It doesn't make any difference how much money you get paid. You spend way too much of your time at your job to do something that you don't like. Do something that's fun for you and that you enjoy doing, and you'll do it well.
Do what you like.
Yes.
And you will enjoy it, and you will succeed.
I would think that.
Anything else you want to tell the youth?
Well, I think we all get caught up in what we do, and we lose sight that what most of us do doesn't have a huge bearing on the universe. I mean, in other words, none of us are, not many of us are curing cancer. So when you're doing it, don't get too involved with this is the most important thing in the world, this is very serious. Have a good time at least. Enjoy it. And it makes everything work so much better.
Wonderful. Take a bow, Barry.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's Barry Bergman, boys and girls, who's the chairman, president, and CEO of the Record Bar Incorporated. Thanks, Barry, for helping us out.
Thank you. Thank you, Glendora. It's really been fun talking to you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Mr. John Dixon is the president and chief executive officer of Roundy's Inc. Hi, John. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
John, would you just tell the boys and girls what Roundy's Inc. is?
Roundy's is a wholesale grocery company. We have distribution centers in 7 states, cover 12 states, and do approximately $2.4 billion yearly in sales.
Wow! And what do you enjoy most about your work?
We serve independent grocers that own their own stores, and working closely with them and watching them progress and move into larger stores. We have a number of stores that do over $1 million a week, and we'll average 100,000 square feet per store.
Hey, that's great. And you were born where?
In Amsterdam, New York.
Amsterdam, New York. Amstergosh.
Right.
That's on Route 5, just west of Schenectady, boys and girls.
And where did you go to school, John Dixon?
I went to school in Ashland, Ohio.
Uh-huh.
Ashland College.
Ashland College.
Yes.
That's where Ashland Oil is? No, that's Ashland, Kentucky.
That's right.
And what did you take as an undergraduate?
I took, my major was business administration, and I had a minor in marketing and advertising.
Are those good majors for what you turned out to do?
Yes, it was kind of a broad brush, and it worked very well with what I do.
Yeah. And what were your jobs when you got out of Ashland College?
I started working in a grocery store in Buffalo, New York, unloading trucks and
What store was that, John?
That was Loblaw Incorporated.
Oh, sure, right. Uh-huh.
And then progressed from there to produce manager.
Wow.
Eventually assistant manager, store manager, and then district manager, where I supervised a number of stores, and then came into the office of Loblaw in Pittsburgh. And then I moved around the country in various positions with other chains and wholesalers.
And then what happened?
Well, 3 years ago, Roundy's was looking for a new president and CEO. I had, at that time, was a senior vice president with Wetterau Incorporated and had 5 divisions reporting to me. And Wetterau is the 3rd largest wholesaler in the world.
Wow.
I was offered a position with Roundy's.
Oh, that's nice. Is Wetterau in Toronto?
No, Wetterau is in St. Louis.
St. Louis. And will you just tell the boys and girls how they could have a nice career like yours?
Well, basically, you know, keep working, try to always learn something. I think one of the most important things is don't be discouraged. I, at different times, at the time thought maybe I was moving sideways or even in some instances possibly being demoted, and tried not to let that bother me, but learned. And once you learn something, no one can ever take it away from you.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Consequently, my probably strength is I have a very large area where I'm familiar with. I won't say I'm expertise, but I'm familiar with. I have run warehouses. I've done transportation. I've bought trucks, spec trucks. I've built stores, run stores, and done everything pretty much in my business.
Yeah, they're lucky to have you. How did you deal with those times of moving sideways and?
Well, it was a little difficult, but I had a tremendous family and wife, and I have 6 children, 5 daughters, and you just kept working and knowing that they needed you, and you just kept on going ahead.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's almost cheaper by the dozen, or
by the half dozen.
Or 8 is enough, right? 11 is enough. John Dixon, you were wonderful to help out the kids. I guess that you have a great feeling for kids.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's our greatest asset, the children.
Oh, you hear that, boys and girls? You're our greatest asset. President and Chief Executive Officer of Roundy's Incorporated on a chat with Glendora. Thanks a heap, John. Bye-bye.
Pretty good. Yeah, who else would like to talk to us in behalf of the extension? Okay, I'll go find somebody. Let me wind my way in and around here. I want to thank Harold Updike for taking care of the camera for us. Hi, I got you. Why did I pick on you?
I don't know.
Oh, I think you have such a nice face. Won't you tell me what you think of the course?
Well, it's the first time, but I think it's excellent. We have an excellent teacher.
That would be Nancy Winkler?
That would be Nancy Winkler.
You know, you hear the expression, you know, always getting a new wrinkle on something. She's always getting a new winkle, right? Fitting pants to your figure. Did that come with the course?
That came with the course. This is we got a whole lot of handouts for $1.
Did? Tell me some more of them. Can you think of some more of them then?
Oh,
gosh, fitting the pants, wasn't it? Yeah? Oh, boy. Here's one, folks.
Fashion and fit.
Yeah. Sometimes your husbands have a fit at your fashion, right?
All right.
Where did you train?
I've been real smart.
I went a student at Drexel University in Philadelphia, and I got my master's at Michigan State.
Did you really? Yes. And how'd you happen to end up in our nice area?
I got married.
Boy was out of school. for 3 weeks, and it was time for him to go back. And he told his mom he wanted a written excuse, and she says, no, you don't need a written excuse. You just tell your teacher that I needed you for a few weeks. You don't need any written excuse. And he got panicky, and he says, Ma, if you don't give me a written excuse, I'll be burned. And so the teacher, the mother called up the teacher, and she says, what did you tell my child? And the teacher said, I told everybody, if anybody was out of school for 3 weeks or more, he'd have to have a written excuse or he'd be dropped from the register. We were teaching these children, and it was in the big city, and we were teaching them Monday through Thursday, and they really came from very large families. And you couldn't reach them, as a group. You had to sit down and talk to each child individually, and try to reach him that way. And so that's what we wrote into the lesson. We said the policy of this school is individual. And the little kid that I was teaching, he read it, the policy of this school is invisible. It was held at a church. And one day this little girl came down. It was a day I couldn't be there, and the other teacher was supposed to be there, but she was late. And so this little girl came in, and nobody was paying any attention to her. And the women were coming into the church and going, and the women didn't know who the little girl was, and she was awfully lonesome. So finally Nancy came, and she sat down to the little girl, and they say prayers all the way through it, and the prayers were beautiful. But this was her little prayer. She said, thank you, God, for all the people who come to this church on Monday. Thank you, God, for the women who come to this church on Tuesday. Thank you, God, for me coming to this church Monday through Thursday. Thank you, God, for all the people who come to this church Sunday, and thank you, God, for Miss Nancy who comes to this church late. My husband's a newspaper reporter, and he brings home so many papers, girls. Oh, it's terrible. And he'll pick up 3 or 4 copies of his own paper, and then 2 or 3 copies of the competition paper. And if there's a Milwaukee Journal sitting around the office, he'll put that under his arm. The New York Times, he'll tuck that under his arm. Or if there's a St. Louis Post-Dispatch, that goes under his arm, And off he comes home with all these papers. And one night he was coming up the stairs to our house, and a little newsboy going around delivering the evening paper, and he looks up at this big man at 6'1". He says, gee, mister, how's your route going? Oh, and this was, a couple years ago I worked up in Maine, and I had to come down to get way down here, down in this section. It's a long ways up there, and I had to leave at 2 a.m. And so I was coming through the New Hampshire toll booth, and there's big, fat New Hampshire man, taking the toll, very jolly guy, great big smile, and he said, hi, neighbor. And then I gave him my money, and he was giving me my change, and here's the reason he hesitated. He says, them boys come through here, he says, and they have long hair, and I wasn't too sure about you, but the minute I seen your curlers, I knowed you was genuine. And the last one, next to last one I have to tell you was about this basketball game that I was covering up in Maine, and they go really big for it, up there, basketball. This was at a college, Husson College, and the former basketball coach was there. She was great for the girls' basketball, but presently she's an assistant to the president. Well, anyway, she came in, she sat down there in the bleachers, and she got right in there on the scoring them on, leading them on. She said, get in there, Hassan. Get in there, Hassan. Defense, Hassan. Defense, Hassan. Get them out of there, Hassan. Get them out of there, Hassan. Get them down to the other end, Hassan. Defense. Rebound, Hassan. You turn around to the woman behind her, and she says, who are they playing?
The 2.5-inch thick planks, and then capped top and bottom.
Sure. What fascinates you about this, Gene?
It's just the warmth of wood. Something that we can't seem to produce anything that has a cellular structure like wood. It's just, your beauty of wood that people use.
Oh, I do. I have it between my ears. Would you be so kind?
For about 10% of it. In other words, I use it strictly for outlining, and everything else is hand cut. Because each thing, such as the chisels that were designed out of Europe by the wood carvers, each one had its own purpose. Each chisel fit a certain area. So therefore, it's just a matter of literally slicing it out to fit that area.
Gene, in the cable TV business, I've met a lot of chiselers, but I've never seen one work so hard as you do. I wonder if you
practice.
That's my level.
Hygienists, and we have public health dental hygienists, we have federal hygienists.
Wow.
So that the opportunities are unlimited, and we are very much undermanned.
Really?
We need hygienists.
Well, then this is a good thing that we have this all on television.
I'd hope that we can reach a few people.
Thank you, Barbara Hauser.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, you can't phone. Here, in case you're ill at ease, I brought something along to make you feel very... I need that for my camera. Because I was coming up the stairs of the classroom one day, and he said, "Buenos dias, señora. ¿Cómo está usted?" And in my best Castilian Spanish, I said, "Très bien, et vous?" My mom and I... And also on the radio, a guy was interviewing me, and he asked me what sign I was born under. And apparently he was born under Gemini, and his wife was born under Scorpio. And he kept telling me how his wife was a Scorpio. And it interested me why he was so impressed that his wife was a Scorpio. I think the reason is that he felt her sting, right?
Modern methods of house cleaning, which we could use now. Clothing, counting the cost.
Have you seen my house? Is that why you said that?
And making a cotton dress.
And then you do what's all around it.
Yes.
You put in all that white in there?
Yes, I'm just filling
That's
in.
hard. Yeah, that takes a long time. Oh, we're not supposed to look at the back, right?
No.
Like people, you just look at the front. And your name is?
Vivian Rogers.
Vivian Rogers, and you're the one who brought in that nice member.
Yes, I invited them.
Yeah, right.
In September.
Is she still? You're still speaking to each other?
Yes, they're real good friends.
Would you show that to the folks? That's so pretty.
This is a pillow top, cross stitch.
Cross stitch. Every stitch you get more and more cross. Is that the idea?
Yeah. I think so. Just about everything.
Good lab, good needle.
Yeah.
Just about everything.
I enjoy it all.
You really do. And you're from where?
I used to be from Fort Edward, now from Salem.
From Salem. Yeah. And is it hard for you to get over?
No.
Yeah. You hitchhike.
I drive.
You drive over. Yeah, it doesn't take long, does it? Yeah. And everybody, here's a few funny things that happened. Dora Richardson, she's a great tall woman, and she saw this hat in a store just before Easter, and she wanted that hat so much, but it was one of the better stores, and she had to wait until the price. She was hoping they wouldn't sell it for Easter, and that it'd be marked down after Easter. So she watched it and watched it and watched it. She was thrilled right up until Good Friday. This hat was still in the store. And then Monday, right after Easter, she went down to see that hat, and they had it up on the shelf, and she put it on, gee, it looked nice. Oh, it looked just right, fit on her head just right, and she's looking at it in the mirror, and then she takes it on, she sees some more hats on the counter, she picks up a hat that was sitting right here, and she put that on, and she liked that too, and there was this little short woman watching her put on that hat, and Dora's saying, "Isn't this a lovely hat?" She says, "I just love the way it fits, this is such a nice hat," and she looked down, Dora's quite tall, and she looked down at the woman, and she says, "Don't you like this hat?" And the woman says, "That's my hat." I was taking a class, folks, and there was this boy from South America, and he was trying so hard to learn the foolish ways we have of saying goodbye. Have you ever noticed? Hardly anybody ever says goodbye. We say, what do we say? See you in church? Yeah. Don't take any wooden nickels? Don't do anything I wouldn't do? Right? Things like that. Anything but goodbye. So we were on the bus together, and we were going to have a test in 2 or 3 days, and he got off the bus before I did, and instead of saying goodbye, he said to me, "Take it easy." And I thought that was wonderful. And then the bus joggled along a little bit before he really had to get off, and so he had a chance to say, give me another farewell, and he said, this time he said, "And study hard." And I were at a little gathering such as this, and we were having a wonderful time. They had terrific refreshments, and they gave my mom a beautiful cup of tea. She loves her tea, just as hot as it can be, how she loves her tea. And the nice hostess was going around, filling up the cups. And she said to Mom, "Would you like to have me heat it up for you?" And Mom says, "Oh, yes, I'd love to. Have you?" And the hostess takes it, and she pours in generously, way, way up to the top. But she was pouring in coffee. there anything else you'd like to tell the folks, Don, about the disaster program?
Well, we are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
It's worse than working for cable.
Well,
your favorite subject in school is what? Recess or cafeteria or
French?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Say something in French. Say the chat with Glendora is really lousy. Say that. No, what would chat? Chat in French means cat, doesn't it?
Yeah, chat means cat.
Yeah, chat means cat. So say something in French, can you?
Like what?
Can you say Catholic Daughters of America?
Les filles catholiques d'Amérique.
Very good. What did you say? Hey, you're very good. I like the way you say it. You must have been taking it a long time.
3 years.
Yeah. Say something else. I like to hear something else.
Like what?
Say Channel 12. Chanel number 5.
Chaîne 12.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. It's so easy when you say it in French. This is Shendu, folks. Uniforms.
These are our uniforms.
They're very lovely green, folks. The uniforms, not the people.
Not yet, I'm green.
Folks, this is a meeting of the Catholic Daughters of America, and we're meeting at Knights of Columbus here in the Hudson Falls, and we'll be right back. Hey, everybody, this boy in high school, he was being tutored in geometry. And his teacher asked him to graph this equation. You know that stuff with all the lines going, right? Yeah, she asked him to graph the equation. And so he said, well, it would look like this and it would look like that. And she says, why don't you get a piece of graph paper and really draw it out? And the kid says, well, actually, I can do it in my head. And so she said, all right. She says, now, place this point, 3, 2. She says, that's 3 over on the x-axis and 2 up on the y-axis. And he says, well, actually, isn't that just the same as 2 up on the y-axis and 3 up over on the x-axis? And she says, all right. And then she says, when x is equal to 4, what is y equal to? And he starts figuring this all out and so forth. And she says, why don't you get a piece of paper, and write this out the way that you should do? And he says, well, actually, I can figure it out in my head. And so she asked him, when y equals 10, what does x equal? And he started figuring out. She says, don't you think that you should get a piece of paper and write this out and do it the way it should be done? He says, actually, yes, I do. This man I knew, folks, down in Schenectady, he had a wonderful expression. Whenever he said goodbye, he'd say, keep the courage flaming. And I thought that was so nice, And so I was talking to somebody over the telephone, a woman, about coming to her club. And it was a very cheery conversation. I wanted to end it happily, I wanted to say, keep the courage flaming. And I started to say it, and then all of a sudden I realized to whom I was speaking. She was a president of a women's auxiliary for a volunteer firemen's company. I was on the radio, and it was a telephone talking show. And this man called up and he said, I heard you were up in Maine. He says, my daughter is responsible for their putting locks on all of the bathroom doors in the Blaine Mansion. That's where the governor lives in Maine. She says, my little daughter was out playing with Governor Muskie's son, Stevie. And they were playing up around the Blaine Mansion. And my daughter came home and she said to me, gee, Daddy, Governor Muskie looks as funny in the bathtub as you do. This woman and I, we were trying to teach some children, and we were trying to teach them the passage, don't bury your talents. And this little girl we were teaching, she said, my sister don't got any. And the other teacher says, oh, yes, everybody has talents. And the little girl said, no, she had them out last week. And we were trying to teach them not to think about the past and don't think about the future. Keep your mind in the present. like your organization, to be as nice as everybody as you can in the present. Don't wander off into the future. And the little boy I had read it, don't wander off into the furniture. And two nice ladies from an organization very much like yours came down to help the children, and the little children were so pleased. And so comes the next day, the little girl comes up to me and she wants to write them a letter. And she said to me, how do you spell use? And I said, U-S-E. And I looked over to see how she put it in the letter, and at the end of the letter she had written, I love yous too. And there's one little boy, girls, he had a clock, a puzzle. You put it all together in pieces, and it came out to be a little clock, and it had little hands that moved. And he got down on his knees for the play period, and he started going through every hour of the day. He'd say 9 o'clock, 15 minutes after 9 o'clock, and he'd move the hand 30 minutes after 9 o'clock, 45 minutes after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And he went through every hour of the day that way. And it was time to close the school, and all the other kids, you know, they were all dressed with their mittens, ready to go home, you know, and I didn't know what to do with this little boy. And he's 3 o'clock, 15 minutes after 3 o'clock, 30 minutes after 3. We're all standing around watching, you know, and finally the silence got to him. And he's up to here by 5 o'clock, 15 minutes after 5 o'clock, 30 minutes after 5 o'clock, 45 minutes after 5 o'clock, and then he looks up at me and he says, well, what time is it?
Is and does?
Sure. Well, first of all, whatever we do, we try to do it with quality, because it's so important, whatever we make, that people who buy it are pleased with it, because two things. One, they have to do whatever we do, we try to do it with quality, because it's so important, whatever we make, that people who buy it are pleased with it, because two things. One, they have to do something with it, and two, we want them to like it so that in the future they'll think of Remington in a very kind way. Now, we make electric shavers, and we believe that our electric shaver is the best shaver in the world. As a matter of fact, we say it shaves as close as a blade or your money back.
Mr. John Dixon is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Roundy's, Inc. Hi, John. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
John, would you just tell the boys and girls what Roundy's, Inc. is?
Roundy's is a wholesale grocery company. We have distribution centers in 7 states, cover 12 states, and do approximately $2.4 billion yearly in sales.
Wow! And what do you enjoy most about your work?
We serve independent grocers that own their own stores, and working closely with them and watching them progress and move into larger stores. We have a number of stores that do over $1 million a week. And
Boys and girls, meet Robert Holman, and he's the general manager of Federal Check Printers. Hi, Robert. How are you?
Just fine today. How are you?
Good, thanks. Robert, would you tell the boys and girls what Federal Check Printers is?
We print personal checks and sell direct to the consumer.
To the consumer, uh-huh.
It's a mail order business.
Oh, really? And it's a big one, boys and girls. It says here that the sales are $84 million. Is that right, Robert?
That's the parent company. We're a part of them.
Okay. Now, Robert, what's the most fun part of your work?
The most fun is coming up with the advertisements.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seeing how they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a lot of fun. And when they work, it's a thrill, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Where were you born, Robert?
I was born in Dover, New Jersey.
Uh-huh. And you went to school where?
I went to high school in New Jersey.
Uh-huh. And Meet Noel Estenson, who is president and CEO of Farmers Union Central Exchange. Hi, Noel. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. Noel, tell the boys and girls what Farmers Union Central Exchange is, please.
Okay, we're a cooperative that serves farmers from Wisconsin to the West Coast. We're in the fertilizer business and the petroleum business mainly, and we're in business to help farmers.
To help farmers. Now, Noel, what do you enjoy most about your work?
Oh, I think it's exciting working with people. There's about 2,000 employees that
Wow.
I'm in charge of, and that's fun.
It's a big company. It's a Fortune 500 company, 295. How much is your sales?
$1,300,000,000.
Noel, where were you born?
Climax, Minnesota, which is in the northwestern part of Minnesota.
And you went to school where?
At North Dakota State University, which is in Fargo, North Dakota.
And what did you take?
Agricultural economics.
And was that a good major for you?
Yes.
Noel, tell the boys and girls what your jobs were until you became president and CEO of Farmers Union.
After college, I went to the Army for 2 years, and then I started in the credit department and became credit supervisor later, then credit manager, then vice president of finance, then senior vice president of petroleum and finance, and then became president and CEO in 1981. I've been with the company about 26 years.
Now, what advice would you give a youngster to start on such a career, Noel?
Well, I think the youngsters today will find their work atmosphere. There will not be as many people as there are jobs, so they will kind of have their pick. So I think it's important to start thinking as early as possible as to what kind of a contribution they can make to the country, and then get themselves prepared so they can be good at whatever they want to do, and they will have an exciting life.
Thank you. Think of what contribution you can make to the country, kids, and you will have an exciting life. Noel Estenson, President and CEO, Farmers Union Central Exchange, on a chat with Glendora. Thanks a lot, Noel.
Thank you for the privilege of being with you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Well, I have a good product, a cheap one, because we sell all the time at most special.
Yeah, and it's homemade.
And these are really good. I use the best flour.
Yes, the best of flour.
I use a fresh eggs.
Fresh eggs.
And I use a good ricotta cheese, and not what the big companies do.
Good ricotta cheese.
I am now, last month was the #1 in New York area.
You are?
Yeah, I was the #1 last week.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations.
I am, if you look at what do you call Salmon Report.
Yeah.
You see the Italian village, and the month of August of the 4 week was the #1.
Oh, you were?
At the Pomeri company.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I opened this business about 5 years ago.
Yes.
And I invent my package, my quality, supervised by me here, my wife, my sister, my
to do a 4-minute.
Now about 30,000 pounds a day.
Wow.
And pretty soon they go 100,000 pounds a day.
Wow.
We buy equipment right now. Look, we buy a bigger freeze to do this about 100,000 pounds every 24 hours.
Wow.
So, and I sell all the time. 99, $1.09, 89, 79. You see ravioli sometimes 79 cents or so.
Wow.
I must sell apple pies all the time. And I have a good product. It's a bigger company. Now a couple of big companies started to copy me.
Copying you, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, so I'm not thinking because that people don't have experience.
Yeah, you're a success, so they're copying you.
Experience kind of a good thing. If you have no experience, and no matter what you buy, no matter what you put in, you know, cook it the right way.
That's right, it's experience.
I ravioli, if you boil it and put no sauce and nothing, and you eat this, that's good.
Where were you born, John?
In Sicily, Italy.
In Sicily. And when did you come to the USA?
Well, we come here 29 years ago, 1960.
Really?
Before was the pizza business in New York, the pizza restaurant.
You had a restaurant, a pizza restaurant.
Pizza restaurant.
And then you moved to New Jersey?
No, I live all the time in New Jersey, and a few years ago I started this ravioli business.
When did you start your ravioli business?
Well, I'm thinking 5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yeah.
You've done very, very well. Was it hard?
Yeah, yes. We have all, now I have all Pennsylvania. I have the...
In Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I have a total, complete Pennsylvania. I have up over there, what do you call it? Boston, Connecticut.
Connecticut and Boston?
Yeah, I have all this thing.
Massachusetts?
Up the state, what do you call it? New York State.
Upstate in Buffalo?
Buffalo, I think, is starting in a couple of weeks.
In a couple of weeks you're going to start?
Yeah. So I have all that area. I try to all New England area.
John, what advice would you give a youngster to start his own business today?
Well, America is very, very easy to make a business and make money. But I have to get up in the morning.
Get up in the morning?
And not go drunk at the evening. Because we have a problem here with these people. As soon as we pay, he drink and next morning no show up on the work.
Are you saying they shouldn't drink?
You're supposed to. I am a drinker, but I am not drink a glass of wine.
Yeah, but don't...
And if I up at 4 o'clock in the morning and drink I like a kick, that's not good for nobody.
Yeah, okay, don't drink a lot of alcohol. Okay, and what else? Okay, boys and girls, to enter the CEO Hall of Shame, you have to be two things. One, you have to say no, you won't do an interview to help the children pick a career, and two, you have to be very unpleasant about it. So this week's entries are the President and CEO of Pitway, Fortune 500 407, Mr. King Harris. The President and Chief Executive Officer of Riviana Foods, Incorporated, Joseph A. Hefner. Yeah, okay, don't drink a lot of alcohol. Okay, and what else would you...
Also, you see, people here in America don't eat good. You know why?
They don't eat right?
No, they have no protection from the government.
Bible every day, because I'm in trouble enough. And so the time was going by, and I didn't have the Bible. I should have been home, you know, and I had to wait for this professor, and the time was going by. So I went up to, it was a sort of a science library there in the